Welcome to the Sports Business Leaders Podcast, brought to you by co-hosts Justin Tichinell and Jake Voorhees. Sports Business Leaders is a community and event series for innovators in sports to positively impact the sports ecosystem. On our podcast, we feature community members to amplify their voice and spread awareness of the companies they're building. Really excited to introduce Amaya Howard, the founder of Sports Shawties. Amaya has been attending our SBL events since the beginning, back going into September or October, and she's building a great community in Sports Shawties for women to not only travel to games and sports events together, but also to just talk about their favorite teams. So without further ado, let's dive right into the content.
My name is Amaya Howard, and I founded Sports Shawties last year, 2024. And what we are a community for women. And what we do is curate experience for women who love both sports and travel. So we want to create a space that's inclusive for women to share their passion through sports and other tailored events.
Really cool. So, Amaya, we love knowing other people that are building sports communities. Obviously, Jake and I are doing that with sports business leaders, and definitely thrilled with the progress that you guys have been doing with Sports Shawties. So, tell us the story of Sports Shawties, how it got started, what you're up to now, and I know you have other chapter leads and groups across the country. So, would love to hear more and what you have going on at 25.
Yes. So I've been a part of some group chats actually on the app GroupMe, and I was in the NFL group chat, and unfortunately, some of the men in the chat, they was very like it's kind of rude and nasty to some of the women. So about 12 of us, we created a side chat just for us women that love the NFL. And these have been like my sisters. There's been over like 8 years of us talking every day. And we realized that, like we haven't met in person. A lot of us have not. So we was like, we should start planning to meet each other around our football teams that really brought us together. And this summer, I got the chance to experience the Olympics in Paris, and that was honestly the time of my life. It was like such an invaluable experience, and I've met women that this wasn't their first international, well, sporting event, and I'm like, "I wanna do that. I wanna go around the world and meet women that love sports like I do." My whole personality is sports. You turn my TV on, it's sports highlights. It's something sports related. So and also if you know me, I love to travel. So why not put those two together? And I know there's other women in the world that love sports as much as me, that love to travel as much as me. So what I'm really doing is just trying to build together my community with and just make my community greater because the community I have is already great and we just want to find a way to just be in person more often.
This is great, yeah, and I've seen some traveling sports groups. We have some local companies here that do it in Philly. We've seen some like out of market fan groups and things like that, but I've never seen a community like yours where it's women and led by women and for women and just traveling sports fans. And it's a really great idea. And I was just so excited that when we met months ago, and then you came to the first meetup, and we've just been huge fans, ever since meeting you. And one of the things that's interesting for me is not like a huge sports fan, ironically, and kind of super new to this sports industry. Honestly, it's only been like a year and a half or two. I come from an engineering background. And if you look in traditional tech or engineering, it's very white and it's very male and it's very homogenous, right? And then I was kind of shocked to come into this sports world and it like almost feels even worse. And your leadership, your community, Sports Shorties, it's unique. And there's definitely some other like women groups like Wise, and I know you go up to the scene events. I know that's not necessarily women
Mhm.
first, um, but like diversity in sports, I think is super important and still something that has a lot of growth. And we need to make sure that we're supporting communities like yours and leadership like you. So one of the things I really want to focus on in this podcast is like, what can the local SBL community do? What can people listening to this show like? What is it that you would want to see like people in sports doing to support leaders like you, communities like Sports Shorties? Like, how can people who care about this too like help you along?
Um, It's I would say help us create a space so we can be our authentic selves. So I bring the people. If I can just get partnership of like the spaces. So if there's a place like, hey, we wanna if you're open to hosting this event here, let's do it. And I just have the power of the different women behind me. And what I love also is that, it's not just one sport that we're actually planning to go to. We've been in NBA games, WNBA games, track and field events, golf, baseball season. Looking to go to some of the local games, the Phillies and those in Houston. They go to the Astros game, um, and so honestly, whether it's at the games or finding a place where we can just watch the game together, I feel like that's where we need because being post COVID, people are really looking for their community in person. We kind of been watching things virtually, but we want to be together with our people, whether, like I said, it's in person at the game or, at a venue, at a bar, at a restaurant. That's what I can really, really use to help like moving forward.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. And obviously, we're talking about this a little bit, but it's starting to become a great time for women in sports. Like the women's NCAA tournament numbers actually outpaced the men's last year. So that's really interesting. And if you look at all these different trends and things going on with women, can you tell us more about your thoughts and excitement for women in sports themselves? And then for the communities like yours?
Of course, and like everyone said, it's about time. So Sports Shawty's actually first event was at the first ever all women's track meet in New York. So the Athlos track meet, where it was the highest paying track meet for women that was in the sport track and field. And it was amazing. And I want to see more things like that, more people being intentional around women's sports. And our next biggest Sports Shawties meetup is happening next month in Miami for the WNBA Unrivaled event that's happening. So we'll be there at the end of February. We have a couple VIP tickets secured, and we will be there in person, live in action. And it just shows that women, we can do everything that men do too at the same level competitively. And it's a different experience when you get to see it in person. And that's like what I really, really want to like really emphasize on and really want to share. And just it's about time to start not only investing in women, but women don't get paid like the athletes, they don't get paid unless people are watching it. So let's get the seats filled with people that actually care about the sport. And that's where I'm really trying to find the people that really care about those experiences.
Yeah, it's funny how these things organically grow. Where like you hear those conversations all the time, like WNBA players don't make as much, and they very quickly the people who don't get it, they're like, well, the viewership isn't there and the ad dollars are there, but like it's the fans and the leaders of communities like empowering them and really people spreading the word that happens first, and then all the other good things come. So I know you're doing that. And it's really cool. You were telling me about going down to Miami next month. I'm really excited for that and sports shorties. And I'm really curious, like, what are the other things that you're excited about for the year or goals that you have? And again, always back to like, how can people help? And I guess what are the other exciting things that you want to happen? Like your magic genie wishes and the perfect roadmap for you and sports shorties this year. Like, what does that look like?
So people are coming to me with all these like, oh, Sports Shawty should be at the US Open. I'm like, okay, fine, we can plan for that. That's in September, August, September. And then there's like, well, internationally there's Wimbledon. I'm like, okay, let's see who do we know over there? And I really just try to get my brain going. I'm like, okay, if I can't be everywhere and I don't want to be, I'm not the only sports charity. So what if we get other people that's already planning on going? And then how can we make it easier for them? I want to be able to where people just come to Sports Shawties a one-stop shop where they can just book their accommodation, their tickets, and then their experiences, transportation, everything in one. So that's where I would love to be at. So all the big events, want to be at Final Four, want to be at, of course, like the NBA Finals, those things, like, because those are things that I usually like try to go to myself, but like last year, I went to the NBA Finals by myself. I went to Paris by myself for the Olympics. I go to a lot of games out here by myself, and I'm just like, I'm just going to. I will find my people, and we're going to.
That's great. I think that's what it takes to build a community from nothing. It's like the vision that you have and like this dream and like, you've picked up the flag and you found people around you to be a part of it. So really excited for everything. So for everybody who wants to follow you and follow the Sports Shorties journey from here, like where can people follow you on socials and everything else? And I think you have a fresh website and all that. How can they follow the story?
Yeah, so it's Sports Shawties on everything. So Instagram at Sports Shawties, website www.sportsshawties.com. Please subscribe to the newsletter because those are in most of the information come out. We're on LinkedIn if you search up Sports Shawties, and then there's also a Facebook page, Sports Shawties.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, thanks again for coming on the show. It's great to have you after you being a repeat at all the events. You've been a huge fan or a huge supporter of the community. It's been great.
You guys are
And,
the biggest fans of Sports Shawties stuff. Even though you're not technically Sports Shawties, honorary Shawties.
that's
Yeah,
what's
thanks, Amaya.
That's what's great about the community, right? You find these people who have great ideas and building great either products or businesses or communities in sports. And you were a huge early adopter with us. Remember when you joined the Slack and I'm like, who is this? Meeting you at the first event. And we're big fans and whatever we can do to help you along. So thank you so much. And sports business leaders, thanks again for listening to another episode. And we'll see you on another show.